Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Bushra Aslam from Department of Physiology. In the previous lecture, I discussed the structures of the eye. This lecture is actually the continuation of the previous one, the structures that were left in the first lecture. First of all, I will discuss the fundus oculi. What is the fundus oculi? It is the posterior part of the interior eyeball. It is also known as the fundus. It is composed of the optic disc and macula lutea with fovea centralis. What is the optic disc? It is the pale structure located near the center of the posterior wall of the eyeball. It is also known as the optic papilla. Here is shown the optic disc as it is shown in the diagram. Optic disc contains all the three layers. It is formed by the convergence of the axons from the ganglionic cells while forming the optic nerve. It contains all the layers of the retina except rods and cones. Therefore, it is sensitive to the light. It is known as the blind spot. Why it is known as the blind spot? As I have already told you that it contains no rods and cones. It is insensitive to light. So, whenever the image falls upon this area, object is not seen. That's why it is known as the blind spot. Next is the macula lutea. Macula lutea is a small yellowish area situated a little lateral to the optic disc in the retina. It is also known as the yellow spot. Yellow color of macula lutea is due to the presence of the yellow pigment. Macula lutea has the fovea centralis in its center. Here is shown the macula lutea and fovea having the fovea centralis in its center. What is fovea centralis? It is minute depression in the center of macula lutea. Here all the layers of retina are very thin. Diameter of fovea is only 0.5 ml. It is known as the region of the acute vision because it contains only the cones. Here you should know about the fovea centralis, how it is important. It results in the acute vision because it contains only the cones. So it was all about the structures of the eye. Next we will discuss the fluid that is present inside the eye, that is known as the intraocular fluid. What is its function? It is responsible for the maintenance of the shape of the eyeball. Intraocular fluid is of two types, vitreous humor and aqueous humor. First of all, vitreous humor. It is viscous fluid that is present behind the lens. It is named accordingly where it is present. So, vitreous humor is present behind the lens in the space between the lens and the retina. Composition is its oily viscous gelatinous substance containing network of proteoglycan molecules. Major substances that are present in the vitreous humor are albumin and the hyaluronic acid. How these substances enters the vitreous body? It enters the vitreous body from the blood by means of diffusion. What is its function? It helps to maintain the shape of the eyeball. Aqueous humor. As the vitreous humor was present behind the lens, aqueous humor is the fluid that is present in front of retina. It fills the space between the it is not present in front of retina, it is present in front of lens, and it fills the space between the lens and the cornea. This space is divided into anterior and the posterior chamber by the iris. Both the chambers communicate with each other through the pupil. So the aqueous humor is divided into the anterior and the posterior chambers by the iris. Next is the formation of aqueous humor. How it is formed? It is formed by the ciliary processes. that forms the middle layer of the wall of the eyeball. It formed from the plasma within the capillary network of capillary process by the diffusion, ultrafiltration and active transport of ions through the epithelial cells that lines the ciliary processes. After aqueous humor is formed, it reaches the posterior chamber by passing through the suspensory ligament that are attached to the lens. From here, it reaches the anterior chamber via the pupil. So, formation of the aqueous humor is the continuous process. From the anterior chamber, the aqueous humor passes into the angle between the cornea and the iris, that is known as the limbus. From here, it passes through the network of trabeculae, meshwork of trabeculae situated near the junction of iris and the cornea, and then it flows into the venous system through the canal of Schlemm and reaches the anterior chamber via the pupil. Rate of formation is 2 to 3 microliter per minute, and its amount is about 230 microliter to 250 microliter, and in posterior chamber it is 50 to 60 microliters. This slide shows all the structures, all the formation of the aqueous humor and its drainage. It forms in the ciliary processes, then passes through the spaces between the suspensory ligaments, enter into the posterior chamber through the pupil, then it enters into the anterior chamber, enters into the venous system by passing through the canal of Schlemm. This shows the diagram of all the formation and the drainage of the aqueous humor. Here you are seeing that from the posterior chamber it is entering into the anterior chamber and it is draining into the episcleral vein through the canal of Schlemm. What is its function? It maintains the shape of the eye, it maintains the intraocular pressure, it provides nutrition, oxygen and electrolytes to the avascular structures such as lens and the cornea. It also removes the metabolic end products from the lens and the cornea. Intraocular pressure. It is the pressure that the aqueous humor that is exerted by the aqueous humor and is known as the intraocular pressure. Normal intraocular pressure varies between 12 to 20 millimeters of mercury. How it is measured? It is measured by the tonometer. What is the procedure to measure? For it, the cornea is anesthetized with local anesthetic and foot plates of tonometer is placed in the cornea. Here is shown the foot plates of the tonometer. A small force is then applied to a central plunger, causing the part of the cornea beneath the plunger to be displaced inwards. The amount of displacement is recorded on the scale of the tonometer, and actually this is the intraocular pressure that is calibrated on the tonometer. How the regulation of intraocular pressure takes place? Intraocular pressure remains constant if there is no disease in the eye, that is with the range of plus minus millimeters of mercury to its normal value, which averages about 15 millimeters of mercury. It is determined by the resistance to outflow of aqueous humor from the anterior chamber into the canal of Schlemm. This outflow resistance results from the meshwork of trabeculae through which the fluid must percolate on its way from the lateral angle of the anterior chamber to the wall of the canal of Schlemm. So the outflow resistance is very important, as when the resistance increases, it leads to the development of a condition known as the glaucoma. So the trabeculae have plays the important role. What are they? They are the minute openings of only 2 to 3 micrometers. The rate of flow into the canal increases markedly as the pressure rises. At about 15 millimeters, as I have already told you that it is the normal pressure. The amount of fluid leaving the eye by the canal of Schramm usually averages about 2.5 microliter per mm, equals to the inflow fluid from the ciliary body. When the outflow and inflow is equal, there will be normal pressure in the eye. So it will remain constant at the level of 15 millimeters of mercury, as I have already told. So the trabecular spaces plays the important role in the movement of the aqueous humor between the chambers. So it is very important from the trabecular spaces that it should be kept clean. How it can be kept clean? By the debris. It can be kept clean by the phagocytes that are present at this level. They engulf the materials that are present at this spaces, so it helps in the cleaning the trabecular spaces. Trabecular spaces, how the material can enter in these spaces? It can result in the after hemorrhage into the eye or during the intraocular infection, and it leads to the accumulation to the trabecular spaces, and that leads from the interior chamber to the canal of Schramm. If this debris can prevent the articular reabsorption of fluid from the interior chamber, then it can lead to the condition known as the glaucoma. Now we will discuss the condition what is glaucoma. Glaucoma is actually the principal cause of blindness. It occurs due to when the intraocular pressure usually rises, when it rises pathologically high. When it becomes pathologically high, almost 60 to 70 millimeters of mercury. Pressure above 25 to 30 can cause the loss of vision when it maintains for the long time. And if it is extremely high, it can cause the blindness within days or even hours. As the pressure rises, the axons of the optic nerve are compressed where they leave the eyeball at the optic disc. This compression is actually believed to block the axonal flow of cytoplasm from the retinal neural cell body into the optic nerve fibers leading to the brain. It results in the blockage of the axonal flow of cytoplasm from the retinal neural cell bodies, and it also results in the lack of appropriate nutrition of the fibers, which eventually causes the death of the involved fibers. It is also possible that compression of the retinal artery which enters the eyeball at the optic disc also adds to the neural damage by reducing the nutrition to the retina. What are the causes of increased pressure? Increased resistance to the outflow through the trabecular spaces into the canal of Schramm at the iridocorneal junction. How it can cause the increased resistance? It can occur due to the acute eye inflammation, where white blood cells and tissue debris can block these trabecular spaces. As the trabecular spaces are blocked, there will be increased resistance to the outflow of aqueous humor from the chambers. It can also there can also be the increased resistance to outflow in chronic conditions, especially in the older persons, where the fibrous occlusion of the trabecular spaces appears to be likely the culprit. Treatment. How the glaucoma can be treated? By placing the drops in the eye that causes the diffusion into the eyeball, that contains a drug that diffuses into the eyeball and reduces the secretion or increase the absorption of the aqueous humor, right? Next, prostaglandins can be helpful at it relaxes the anterior structures of the eye. Beta blockers and carbonic anhydrase inhibitors that decreases the aqueous humor production. As there is already increased pressure, then that's why we have to decrease the production of the aqueous humor so that the pressure can be lesson. Next, parasympathomimetics, that helps in the increased outflow of the aqueous humor from the eye. This is the temporary treatment or medical treatment. The proper treatment for the glaucoma is the surgical treatment. It should be surgically operated, otherwise the patient will suffer from the permanent blindness. How it can be surgically treated? Either you have to open the spaces of the trabeculae by the surgery, or to make the channels that allow fluid to flow directly from the fluid spaces of the eyeball into the subconjunctival space outside the eyeball. Thank you so much. It was all about my second lecture. Best wishes. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.